Hello YouTube, and welcome to another deck measuring contest where I break down a deck that I have made for the Munchkin CCG, and today I have yet another Ranger deck. This is my Monsterless asterisk deck. The asterisk means that it is nearly monsterless. There's actually 2 monsters in here. But the asterisk also means that there are a bunch of cards in here that aren't technically monsters, but they have the monstrous ability. So you can use them for their regular abilities, or you can use them as monsters and you're not cheating. And that's a great ability. I love using it. So actually my near monsterless deck here has the most monsters of any deck that I have. So I want to go through a little, slightly differently than my other deck breakdowns and show you, one, the cards in here that can't be monsters, and the ones that are monsters, and then the ones that can be monsters and are also other things. So to augment the other stuff, first we have a Me Too medallion, which just is a draw effect, and the other person can pay you a gold, and it gets them a draw as well. And I just really like having one of those in the deck. If you've seen the episodes with Tank, he adores this card. He has 2 to 3 of them in probably all of his decks. I have the Silver Bullet, which I really like the timeliness of it. I like zap and squish loot. Sometimes when you have something out and you go, I don't want to just get rid of this loot because it's useful, but it's taking up stars that I could put something else out. So I have this zap and squish loot, so I'll put that and I'll get rid of something that they have, do 2 damage to something, and I don't want them to get it back. So it only has 2 life, and if this does enough damage to kill something, then it actually removes it from the game completely. And then, just to avoid bleed effects, the Big Baby Bandage, because that renders bleed effects null and void. And even if they have things to go get cards back out of their discards, that doesn't work because it doesn't make the cards go away like the Bodyguard or the Make Overlord. You just ignore the effects of the bleed damage. They stay on your hero, you just ignore them. And I adore that. As an ally, I have a Stumpy, which is, when this is squished, remove it from the game, then choose 1 card from your discard pile and stash that card. So you get to go get a card back, and that's really helpful. I have 2 Branchlandians in here, which, again, they have a heal effect. If you don't have at least 1 or 2 heal effects in your deck, then you're probably short-lived in that game. Leftovers, that's a fun treachery. Heal 1 for each monster in your stash. And in a deck like this, where you have the potential to have a lot of monsters in your stash, especially with the Monstrous 1 ability, where you have the potential to have a lot of little monsters in your stash, that can be really helpful late in the game when you have a lot of damage on you, and you can have 3, 4, 5 monsters in your stash with that only cost 1 gold to put out, and then you heal a whole bunch all at once. We have the Shinies, so you can unzap your hero card to get your stuff back, because killing a monster is bad. Killing a monster that has the potential to also be a weapon is worse. Doge, because 3 Dogs is great to have in a deck, and Compost. Like I said, those are the cards that you need to have both ways. And that's Russet. I don't think you can see him in the camera here. Go on. Anyone who knows me knows there's cats running around. They might get in frame. The Dumpster of Doom, one of my favorite monsters. It's a V-Rare card, so I don't blame you if you don't have one. It took a long time for me to acquire the 3 of them that I have. So there's only 1 in this deck, but there's 1 in my Flying Fickle Finger of Fate deck, which you may have seen in my other deck measuring contest video as well. It's a really great utility card to have late in the game, especially when you might have a lot of discards going on, because it's a damage for every card in your discard pile, and that can be a lot. Late in the game, that can be just the end right there. Snakes on a Plane, draw, regenerate, lots of good stuff. Now, I have one more card before we get to my monstrous ability cards. So, this is a location from Fast and Furious that I love having in this deck because it makes it so much more fun. It is the Catwalk. It's a location, comes into play zapped. During each hero's reckoning step, that hero must move all unzapped loot from their hoard to its owner's hand. That's great! I love that! So you can put down, at the end of your turn, anything that you haven't put out as a monster, then you just put it out as loot. Just loot, 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 loot. And then at the beginning of your next turn, you just scoop it all back up and you have all of these monster options again. There he was. You have all of these monster options again, and the other person, like, they might know that you have all of these monsters, but now they know you have all of these monsters, and you're putting down cards. They know you're not. Might know you're not cheating, but they also know that they're hosed, and so they're either going to be limping away from a shitload of monsters, or they're going to be taking a whole lot of damage just to try to stash all of your cards. But I have 3 Potted Plants, which is a monstrous location. It's a promo card. It took me a while to get 3 of them. Shout out to Bill, the other MIB in town, for getting a bunch of those for me. The Beagle Scout, which is an ally. All of these are monstrous from here on out, by the way. The Bullwhip, which is a weapon. Monsters 2. Mr. Waffles, which is a 5 weapon, a 5-star weapon. It's really hard to put out, but it's really nice to get it out as a monster. And he's so cute. Where'd it go? There it is. There it is. He's so cute. The Fur Coat, which, when you put it out as armor, has a, when your hired monster is squished, zap, heal 2. But it's also monsters too, so very helpful. The Interrupting Cow, which is normally a treachery, deal 2 damage to target monster. Monsters 2. White Milk, which is draw 3 cards, monsters 3. And the Polecat is deal 3 damage to target hero. So that's your end game, because that can be 9 damage right at the end. Just boom. And this deck also allows the ability to switch strategies in the middle of the game. If they have a really effective way of killing monsters, then you just stop putting out monsters part of the way through. Like, if it really fuels their abilities to kill monsters, if they're just like soaking it up, they've got monster juicers, stuff like that, and they're just healing because they can kill monsters, then you just stop putting out monsters. You go, oh, all right, well, I can put out these Beagle Scouts as allies to protect myself from damage. I can put out these Bullwhips to kill your monsters in return. I can use these White Milks to draw cards to do these other things in the rest of the deck. I can put out these Fur Coats to heal, and I can use these Polecats at the end of the game just to do direct damage to you at the end. So, like, you can switch up your strategy very quickly, or if they have defenses against stuff like that, just throw out monsters. If they don't have a loot-heavy deck, they don't have a lot of weapons to put out, just bombard them with enemies. So that's fairly simple deck there. That's That's the monstrous items there. That's a lot of monsters, and then the 2 regular monsters on the other side of the deck here. So that is my experimental Monsterless asterisk deck. I will put that there. Be sure to tell me what you like about it. Do you play with the monstrous ability? Do you play Ranger? What do you think could beat it? What do you think? Do you think that you could beat it with anything? Do you think that you could win with it? What would you augment it with? Do you think it's a good build, bad build, whatever? Be sure to like, share, favorite, subscribe, pay it forward, send us money, be excellent to each other, and we'll see you next time.